very welcome back to the show now. The 60s was a time of cultural, political and technological change, but most of all, it was a revolutionary time for music. One band totally transformed the music scene, and it was the Beatles, but have you ever wondered where it all began? Well, this year, a stage play by Rob Fenna called Lennon's Banjo tries to solve the greatest mystery in pop history, the whereabouts of John Lennon's first musical instrument, the banjo, the item which is believed to have inspired his love for music. So joining me here in studio to spill the beans is musician and original drummer of the Beatles, Pete Best. Pete, thank you so much for coming on the show today. We're all terribly excited to have you here.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
How did you get, you're making your acting debut, basically.
Yes.
And how did you get roped into it at all?
What happened was Rob, who's produced and wrote the book, he sent me a copy of it a couple of years ago. And I read it, and it was very humorous, very apathetic, factual. And I said, yeah, it's a nice read, that.
Yeah.
And I bumped into Rob about a year or so ago. And I turned around and told him, I said, if you're ever doing anything with that book, I'd be interested. And he laughed, and I said, no, I'm quite serious about this. You know, I'd be interested.
So it's all your fault?
And lo and behold, about 9 months ago, my manager got in touch and turned around and said, Rob's interested in offering you a part in the play. He wants you to play yourself.
Oh, well, that can't be too hard, too much of a challenge.
No, I can't mess that one up. Right? And it was basically, you don't have to look younger than what you are, because it's present day.
Excellent.
So
what's the basic story of it?
Basically what it is,
without giving away too much,
without giving away too much. Group of Liverpool people, a group of American people, find some clues, and they go on this fantastic hunt to find the holy grail of pop, which is Lennon's banjo.
And there really was a Lennon's banjo?
There really is a Lennon's banjo.
Oh!
There is, yes.
Yeah. And it all stems from there?
And it all stems from there. And the play's all about how they get it, how they acquire it, the route they go down, you know, the drama involved with it, the mirth involved with it. So there's something in it for everyone.
That sounds amazing. And you're appearing in it yourself. It starts on the 24th of April in the Epstein Theatre in Liverpool.
That's right.
But if you have any plans to bring it over this side of the water now, because this country is full of fans of yours, as we know by the reaction we've had over the last couple of days. So you're in demand now, I have to tell you. Very much in demand.
Well, for throwing bottles at it. No, I'm certain if the play's successful, Rob would love to bring it this side of the water.
And you'll have to come back to us again. Now, I suppose the story of the Beatles, it is pretty legendary. And your particular story, do you know what? It kind of reminds me of, like, if you won the lotto and you lost your ticket and then your best friend cashed in the ticket and didn't tell you about it. That's what your story reminds me of, because in a way you were treated very, very unfairly, because you went to their Hamburg sessions, you were in the Beatles for 2 years, they were about to make it big and they went, good luck. Tell me, as much as you can without getting yourself sued, what happened around there? How did you get involved with them in the first place?
How I got involved with them was very simple. My mother opened the club, the Casbah in Liverpool in 1959.
Mother Mona.
Mother Mona. And the band which should have opened it broke up a couple of weeks beforehand. Two of the members of the band, Ken Brown and George Harrison, came down and saw my Mother Mona. And they turned around and said, band's broken up, but George said, I happen to know a couple of guys who might be interested in taking over the spot. And she said, for goodness sake, bring them down, George. Right? Lo and behold, they landed up the next day, John Lennon, Paul McCartney. Right? She put the deal to them, which was a residency, showed them the Casbah. They were going to play there every Saturday night. They were going to be paid the pricely sum of £3 a night.
£3, my God.
Yes, £3, a lot of money then.
That was a lot of money then.
And there was only 4 of them, no drummer. And that's how I first got to know them.
So they needed you?
12 months afterwards, I got a phone call from Macca. And that was the start of a whole new adventure. And
what was it like, those heady years at the start? Did you have an idea of what was going to lie ahead, that it was a good thing to be involved in?
No, not at that stage. I mean, we were ambitious, you know, we wanted to get to the top of the tree. I don't think, but that to us was achieving success in the British charts. You know, what they went on to become the icons of the music industry. No, no one ever dreamt that big. You know, who was going to be bigger than Elvis Presley?
Yeah, exactly. And
that's what we were thinking.
It kind of kicked off a revolution. That whole era was absolutely amazing for the music. It did, between Elvis and the Beatles. That just changed the face of music as we know it.
Well, it was. I mean, then you had 2 different styles. You had the American style and the English style, which had pinched the American style, and we sold it back to them. And we made a lot of money from it.
Happy days.
Okay,
Yeah.
and we're still making a lot of money from it.
You're a good man yourself. You won't say any more about that. What was it like, though, when you went over to Germany first? Because that was kind of where the Beatles first exploded, as it were, isn't it, in Hamburg?
That's where we grew.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 7 hours a night, 8 hours a night, 7 nights a week. That cultivated us. That turned us from a mediocre band into this prolific powerhouse that changed its image, came back to Liverpool, and basically took Liverpool by storm.
Yeah. And what's this about their haircuts? They all had the same haircut, but you didn't. Now, there's loads of theories about that you were far too cool to have that particular kind of pudding bowl haircut. But is it true you just had too much hair? This is what I want to know, like the little trivia bits.
Now, hearing it from the horse's mouth.
Right, yo.
The essence is I never got asked, right? It didn't happen overnight, right? And this comes out in the play, by the way.
Okay.
It's mentioned, you know, Lennon's Banjo, so it's a poignant part in that as well. Never got asked. George was the first to actually get it changed. Then it was Stu. Then John and Paul went to Paris and got theirs changed. They came back. Stu left the band. So that left the three of them with so-called Beatle hairstyles,
Yeah,
which were originated by Astrid Kirchner,
yeah.
right? No one asked me to comb my hair down.
Oh.
So I continued to do my Tony Curtis.
Actually, we have a picture of it here. I'm just going to show you 1 second. Now, let's place this in the right way. How are we doing there? There we go. Now, hang on. That way. No. Whoops. I'm afraid I'm going to drop it. There's you, right. That's you in the front. Yeah. You had quite an abundance of hair. And if I might say, my theory about why they didn't want you around anymore, you were by far the best looking of them all.
I was just going to say that. Yeah,
I think there must have been a bit. That was one of the theories that was going around. There was
No, that is the truth, because I taped it and I showed Pete before the show where they said that, generally speaking, he had the most women after him and they didn't like that.
But
I won't argue with that.
it's not one to argue with. But looking back on it, I mean, it must have been a very difficult thing for you to go through personally. I mean, when you were part of a band. You loved being in it, I presume, or did you?
Sure.
Did you know it was difficult was it difficult while you were part of them for that 2 years?
No, it was, you know, I mean, we were a unit. We went through a lot together. We achieved a lot within those 2 years. You know, we got a recording contract, went on to, you know, TV shows, radio shows. I think what was the souring thing about it, Elaine, was the fact that the way it happened and how it happened.
Yeah.
Okay, there was no forewarning. It's still a grey area to me at this present moment in time, but I've moved on. You know, it's something which a lot more people outside in the public world are more concerned about why I was kicked out the Beatles than what I am at this present moment in time.
Because I suppose sometimes these things happen, largely when it comes to when money gets involved, when record producers get involved, it comes down to pounds, shillings and pence, and they call the shots, really, don't they?
It's show business.
It's show business.
It's show business.
And it's a tough business to be in.
It's a tough business, but if it's a business, unless you want to be in it, don't get into it, because you only get your feet bent.
Yeah. How was your life immediately after that, though? How did you kind of bounce back, or did you find it difficult?
To be quite honest, it hurt me. Okay, a lot of people turned around and said you would have been bitter, but no, that's too strong a word. I think hurt is the key word, simply because of the fact the way it happened. You know, there was no forewarning.
How were you told? How were you told?
Called into Brian's office, and after talking around the subject for about 10 or 15 minutes, he turned around and said, Pete, don't know how to turn around and tell you this. The boys want you out. And the key word was already, right? And it's Ringo would join the band, already joined the band on Saturday. And it was all done, signed, sealed, delivered, without me knowing anything at all about it.
It's the lack of respect, I suppose, more than anything else in the
there was
betrayal.
A little bit about that.
Not a nice way to do it.
And the other thing that left a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth was the fact that they weren't there. You know, they left it up to the manager. And as I turned around and said, you know, not that I ever spoke to them again after that.
You've never spoken to them since?
It would have been nice for actually the three of them to be there and just basically turn around and say, this is the situation.
Yeah.
It never happened, and life goes on.
It does go on, quite cowardly. But you rebuilt your life after that.
Very much so.
Very much so. Are you really married 50 years?
50 years plus now.
Wow. 50 years plus. Now that is a success that most people in the business do not have at all. So to have that sort of constant support is amazing. It's something you probably wouldn't have had maybe had you gone on that crazy touring.
Well, there's that side of it as well. But as I've turned around and said before, my karma somewhere has painted this wonderful path, you know, wonderful tapestry, and I'm still living it.
Yeah.
And enjoying every moment of it.
When you look back at it now, can you look back with joy and any happiness, or is it forever tainted, or is there things going, God, I'm so glad I was part of that?
No, it's something which, whatever happened to be part of that particular band, okay, is an honour. You know, the fact that you were associated with it, okay, and a lot of people give me credit for being, you know, the fundamental basis of it.
Yeah.
You know, the success.
In essence, you were, because it all kicked off in your mum's gaff, basically.
Yeah, so regardless of what happened, okay, that's one particular incident. It changed my life a little bit, but it also gave me a little bit more determination. And, you know, it opened more doors, made me more dedicated, more determined. And hopefully I've achieved, you know, what I have achieved, I'm very proud of.
Yeah. What are you most proud of? Oh, sorry.
You don't mind putting in, did you sing in the band?
Only when they let me.
Well,
I
like
get a funny
Ringo, he didn't
feeling,
sing either.
You know, because being in the business so long as well, maybe you were too good a singer and you were too good looking
No, I don't, okay, I'll go with the looking, but the singing side of it, no. That was the reason why they wouldn't let me sing.
You did sing. I mean, you must have, you were doing all those hours, because when Ringo came in, he was hopeless. I mean, he couldn't sing for skins. He
Yellow
didn't have
Submarine.
I used to do 2 numbers, okay.
And what were they? That'll tell you what's up.
One was I think every drummer in Liverpool and most probably the whole of the world at some time has sung it, which is Carl Perkins' Matchbox.
Oh.
Okay. That's a drummer's lament, by the way. And the other one was Peppermint Twist. Okay.
I don't know.
Because I used to be a little bit of a dancer in those days, and I used to get up on stage and dance.
Oh, so
You have the moves as well
It was
as
a
the
bit of a
looks.
Sunny Knowles, I think.
Bit
That's
of a
what it
mover,
was.
okay. But it let Paul go on the drums, you see. And I could go to the front of the stage.
It's all coming out.
coming
Yeah, you were much more attractive than Paul McCartney in the flesh. I've only ever met him once or seen him once, but that's it. But Eileen, Tina, this is what you grew up with.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm looking back at it as this massive period of change in world culture, never mind British culture. But what was it like around that time, Eileen?
It was terrific. It was great. Everything was happening. And it was a really
You were
innocent
touring around the
time.
place mad as well.
Yeah, it was. And then we met the Beatles as well. We got the photograph taken with them when they came to. And Paul McCartney, he was nice. He asked us about the band and what sort of band, what we wore and all. But what's his name? John. I thought John was a bit, hello, and I hope you're not wearing, I hope you're not doing their songs and you're not doing this and that and the other. Take off, you know. Give us. We do better than you.
The same thing as well.
Yeah, you know what I mean? No, but the others were nice. But it was great to meet them. But I had to laugh. Everyone was saying, "Was it great? Were you touching them? Were they this and that?" No, they're only human beings like me. Why? They sing in the story, but it was great. We loved that era. It was terrific.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Swinging 60s.
I saw them in the Adelphi Cinema here in Dublin in 1963. I was 10 at the time, and it was incredible. But I was growing up every summer, as I was saying to Pete, I was going over to Liverpool because Wallasey across the water was my mother's family home. And the Tower Ballroom, your manager said, you know, we're going to fill the Tower Ballroom. What's the most people you ever had? And they said, Joe lost 3,500. She'll never top that.
Oh, we smashed that.
Way over 4,000 for the Beatles in the Tower Ballroom in New Brighton.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Operation Big Beat. 5,000 kids.
Yeah, screaming.
Jammed in front of the stage.
Yeah.
Just like Lennon's Banjo was going to be.
And
5,000 kids.
this was down.
I was just about to bring it up again.
Yeah.
You're right on this.
Yeah, right.
Pete, let me tell you.
This was down the road from my mother's family home. So, I mean, we were reminiscing all the places Pete knows is where I grew up. Every summer and every Christmas, I'd go, as my mother would say, back home from Dublin over to Liverpool and all the places.
Oh, we had a great chin work.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I feel like I'm interrupting
outdoor
something.
fair, the model railway,
But
the bathing beauty contest.
The bathing beauty,
Yeah.
There was
Outdoor
a swimming pool that was bigger than an Olympic-sized swimming pool in New Brighton, and they used to have bathing beauties that would walk up with the huge boobs and the little side, the number. I mean, it was unbelievable. But that was before package holidays. New Brighton was it.
Sorry, no, I feel we're going off somewhat on a tangent here now.
Sorry,
we're here to talk about
that.
Lennon's Banjo, and unfortunately we're after running out of
That
time.
was interested in talking about boobs, actually. But no, we'll bring it back to Lennon's Banjo.
We'll talk about boobs more after the show. How about that? In fairness, that's a topic we normally talk about quite a lot on this show, I'll tell you that. So Lennon's Banjo, back 24th of April, Epstein Theatre. Are you on every performance of it, or are you just going to selectively
No,
pop in?
unfortunately, because of our schedule, I'm on the opening night, the press night,
Yeah.
and the ultimate night, the closing night.
Close. So you big prima donna, you're going for the big ones where everyone will be screaming at you. Oh, I have your measure.
No,
I
I
have your
there.
measure.
I had nothing to do with it. That was Rob. Okay, blame that on Rob. Okay.
Right,
Okay.
Pete, thank you so much for joining us on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure, and best of luck in your acting debut, and we hope to
you.
see you here again.